Okay. How's everyone doing today? I'm going to turn this fan off in the background because I can hear it in the I can hear it causing some interference. So, one moment. Okay. Sora, all good. Fran Z, Fred, don't forget the orange chicken, terrible. Mia, Darthon, Trouble, Pretora, Dom, Slyness, how's it going? Okay, should be caught up, and everything should now be on my proper chat window over here. Okay. SLB, Waldo, Oduku, how's it going? So today, the goal is to go in and Kanoid, congrats on the 3.83. I just saw it in the Discord. But the goal here today is to go through and basically just give an overview on what legendary bundles are actually worth it. Just going through, highlighting which have a really good value, the top tier value, which are a bit more niche, which are the bundles you're gonna just buy because you're a ship collector, someone that just really wants, those ships, and then the bundles that are just an incredibly poor value. That's the objective here. So right off the bat, I do want to start with the 10th before I even take a look at any specific ships. The 10th anniversary bundle, that is the big FOMO bundle. It's got all of the big hero ships in it for the feds. You've got the legendary Audi, the Galaxy, Sovereign, all the colonies, all the fed ships. And the thing with this bundle is that there is a standard version and also a premium version. The standard version, which I'll talk about here in a few minutes, it costs just under $200 with the sale, and the premium version is almost $300. So there's a more expensive version of the bundle, and what you're getting for that extra $100 is some master keys, some promo packs, some tech upgrades, some specialization points, an epic Phoenix token. You're basically just getting a bunch of fluff, and I don't think it makes much sense to go for this. Like, for an extra $100, that's enough to get you some of the other bundles that are going to be, on this list. So before I even get into the ships, I just want to go ahead and put the premium version of the 10th bundle in the poor value category, because the standard one is $100 cheaper, and that gets you the ships. So, Grr, morning, big damn nerd. Morning to all of you as well. Enraged Postman. Jay, Dark, Toxent. Why is the 10th only available from time to time? It's just a FOMO approach. It's the same stuff they do with, a lot of the Muds bundles. They used to do it with some of the lockbox stuff. They do it with promo ships as well, where it's just a FOMO approach, fear of missing out, so that when it does pop back up in the store, it's just another layer to get you to want to pick it up, because you know that it's not always available, so you get it while it's there. Yeah. But another thing I want to go over before I get too far into things is, what are legendary ships? Legendary ships are, I think the original idea was that they're more modern, better versions of existing tier 6 ships, and they come with all of the consoles, skins, and traits released for that line up to the point of that legendary bundle releasing. So for the 10th bundle, part of the reason it was so big at the time, aside from having all these Federation hero ships, is you were getting all of the skins, all of the traits, all of the consoles that those had, But an issue for the 10th specifically is that released in 2020. That was 6 years ago. There's almost as much of a gap between tier 6 ships being introduced into the game to the release of the 10th bundle as there is to the 10th bundle and today. So like it's a pretty old bundle, and as I mentioned the other day, there are newer versions of a lot of the ships in there. Some are, not as cheap to get, but the legendary ships in there are not necessarily the best versions of those ships. I put the premium version. I put the premium version of the 10th right into poor value. Okay? The premium version of the 10th straight into the poor value bin. I didn't do that for the standard. I did not do that for the standard version, which is the only version of that bundle you should get. Just to make that a clear distinction. But, legendary ships are meant to be, a better version of the ship up to that point. But it really is important to recognize that a legendary ship doesn't automatically mean a good ship. A lot of the ships that we get, nowadays are, even some of the more recent C-Store offerings are better than some of those early legendary ships. You look back to, if you look at the Odyssey here, in fact, I want to pull up a comparison. So let's pull up the legendary, what is it? Is it just the Audi? Is it the Verity? Yeah. Okay. Now, if I pull up the Lexington, I'll make this bigger so you guys can actually see it. So the legendary Verity is the legendary version of the Odyssey that released 2020. The Lexington released 2 years later in the 12th anniversary bundle. And, the Lexington's a very popular ship, but you don't hear many people talk about the Verity anymore. And if you look at the BOF layout, you can get a good idea of why. The Verity only has a commander command, not even a secondary specialization seat, not even another command, whereas the Lexington's got primary miracle worker, secondary intel. So it's not even, the fact that that's just a more desirable combo for most players. It's also there's the quality of the Lexington is just higher than the legendary version that released 2 years prior. Yeah. Clone. Logical. But yeah, the point there is just because it's legendary doesn't mean it's the best. And something I saw the other day too is when I was being pretty critical about the 10th bundle, someone said, but it's got like 20 starship traits in it. And here's where we got to have like a serious discussion. It doesn't matter if it's got 20 starship traits in it if none of them are good. Or, if none of them are really relevant in, the modern era. Like, there's a lot of starship traits in the game, and there's a lot of bad ones. Cryptic historically has not been the best when it comes to balancing, and, with starship traits, there's some pretty poor performers. And, one that I want to highlight here, let me find, which one is it? Yeah, weaponized time crystals off the legendary temporal flight deck carrier. That's legendary Donnie. This, this is... You guys are probably familiar with complex plasma fires, which is a trait that basically actually adds like an effective plasma dot with plasma weapons. This is sort of like an anti-proton version of that, but it does like 100th the damage. So, balance-wise, it's just a good example of you can have two things with a similar concept, but one of them does a fraction the damage of the other. And Random Prime sub, thank you for the sub there on Twitch. I do appreciate that. Why did that not pop up in my activity feed? There it goes. The 16th is not a legendary bundle. Hold on a second. Can you go ahead and just turn the air on? It's going to get pretty warm here in a couple hours. It's like a shooter game that has a gun that can't shoot, yeah. Legendary whole birth when terrible. But yeah, okay. Now getting to the point, I've done a stream before, like going in looking at each of the 10th anniversary bundle ships, but let's just go through, do a quick, just another quick look at them. So we've got the legendary Miracle Worker Light Cruiser, got a ton of ships in here. And that's part of the reason that the 10th has so much desirability still, is because it's just getting you so many ships, and the skin aspect is a huge part of it for people. But, you know, when it comes to like the performance side of things, which I know not everyone cares about performance, I hear this every single day. I get it. Not many of you actually care about, like, you know, judging everything from that perspective. But, you know, looking at the value of what is on offer here compared to newer offerings, this doesn't look that good. But starting here with the legendary Connie Merrick Worker Light Cruiser, this is your TOS Constitution. It's a 4/4, no hangar bay, and you've got a commander Inge with Merrick Worker followed up by a lieutenant Inge with Merrick Worker. That's just not very good. And, you know, if I go back to the sortable filterable ship list, which I've got right here, so let's do Shangri-La versus legendary. What was this name? It's just got Constitution Edge. Okay. So, I mean, you look at the legendary Constitution Merrick Worker Light Cruiser against the Shangri-La, and, you know, those of you familiar with like building out ships are going to see like that is a much more desirable layout. It's not perfect. The Shangri-La's got its own set of issues, but the legendary Connie here, double Merrick Worker, a bunch of forced engineering. It just, yeah. 2 adds in 12 minutes. Nothing should have changed with the settings. Strider, thank you for the sub. Does the more forward-facing weapons make the ship more worth it? In general, most players tend to prefer having the extra weapon. The extra weapons, yeah. Strider, thank you for that prime. I don't know why that didn't pop up again on my feed. That's weird. Yeah, for cannons it really matters. For beams it doesn't matter as much. Like, you can do millions of damage with a 4/4 setup. Yeah, so Logical here said, for me, the 10th is a salient example of just because you paid hundreds does not mean you bought the best in the game, especially with the passage of time, too, yeah. Captain Sort of, thank you for the bits. Only exception is experimental versus rear slot, yeah. Okay, but the point is, like, as I go through the 10th anniversary bundle ships here, is that you're going to see that there are newer offerings for the vast majority of these that are better than the versions you get in this bundle. Now, the incentive, the appeal of the 10th bundle at this point is just to get the skins. Like, that's a big thing for a lot of people. Like, your Shangri-La here, the Shangri-La, you can't make it look like a Connie unless it's actually, unless you have this bundle or some of the other expensive Connies in the game. So that is a reason to go for this still, is, you know, just for the skins. So if that's something you care about, then, you know, this is a very expensive bundle just to get the skins. Bugle. Okay, so legendary Connie Merc Worker Light Cruiser. Again, double Merc Worker, too much inch, not really that great. And the trait and consoles off these don't really matter either much anymore. Legendary Constitution Temporal Flight Deck Carrier. This is probably one of the strongest offerings out of the entire 10th bundle. This is a Discovery Constitution variant. So the Disco Connie that you can get from the promo packs or the what is it? Disco Inferno Muds bundle. Like that, if you go for Disco Inferno, you're also getting the D7 with Ruin of Our Enemies, which is like a really big deal for high-end builds. But if you're going for the 10th, you do get a version of the Disco Connie flight deck carrier that some people do prefer. I'll pull up the comparison here. So that is the flight temporal flight. There we go. And the Miracle Worker flight. Yeah, here we go. So this is the legendary versus the promo version, which again you can also get in the Muds bundle. The legendary is dual temporal, but temporal is just a much more desirable specialization, so that's a bit easier to work around. It is on the engineer, but with temporal, I mean, you have plenty of room to use those slots up. So some people do prefer the legendary Disco Connie over the promo one for actually flying them around, because the Merc Worker command combo the promo one has isn't particularly amazing. It's super worth it if you're just starting or early in your collections. I would say, here's the thing though, is that pops up a lot, is that people should get the 10th early on because of how much is in there. But the issue is how much of the gear from the 10th is actually relevant, and the reality is almost nothing. If you look at, some of the other legendary bundles that I'll be covering today, the accessories, the traits, the consoles, and some of the platforms have much more relevance, much more value for like building out an account, for building out ships. The 10th, I'm not gonna spend the entire stream going over the 10th, but the point here with the 10th is that basically every ship in here is fairly outdated, and it's really a space Barbie offering. Like, if you're going for the 10th at this point, it's because you want the hero ships, and that's fine. That's fine. If you want to get the hero ships, if you want to get the skins, then that's fine. But when it comes to a value perspective of, I've got $200 to toss into the game, what is going to be the best set of purchases I can make to give me as much build capability as possible, just to boost up my performance, boost up what I can do build wise, the 10th bundle isn't that. Isn't the mirror better for beginners? Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a few. But I mean, the legendary Kelvin, that's in a bit of a better position because that's Intel. It's okay. The legendary Glenn, this is one of the few that's got a dual specialization combo. So this is a science vessel that has Commander Temporal, Lieutenant Commander Command. We used to use this as a support, but nowadays with the science meta shifting over towards being so reliant on hangar bays, that does hurt these sorts of science ships that don't have hangar bays. In addition, even though it's a lockbox ship, if you're a big fan of the crossfield, the crossfield refits, pretty popular offering, and we've got the Damocles incoming, which is another Infinity lockbox ship. And the Damocles, we don't know the stats on it yet, but there's a pretty good chance it's going to be a better version of the crossfield. But I mean, if you want a crossfield account wide, the legendary Glenn in the 10th is that, and also there is the they dropped the Masters of Science bundle last year that does have the crossfield refit. So you can get that account wide, but that's pretty expensive, $150 just for that ship basically, and like the NRX. Okay, legendary Defiant. This is a 5-3 pilot warship. Bit more inch than I'd like on most builds. Doesn't have the ability to run a grav well. The issue I would say for the legendary Defiant, and I've spent a bit of time with this ship in the past. To be clear, I like the legendary Defiant, but we do have to just acknowledge that the Adamant is an offering in the Zen store as well. It's got a better BOF layout, especially for what people are currently doing build wise. The Adamant, though, does trade 2 aft weapons. The Adamant does get an experimental weapon, but as a raider, it is overall losing 1 weapon. So, both of these ships are good. I'd say when the Legendary Defiant came out, and even when the Adamant first came out, the Legendary Defiant was still pulling ahead. But as the meta has evolved in the past few years, I would say the Adamant, especially with Hexas, has come out ahead. The overpowered and overgunned is not a bad trait. That's true. And that is another thing I do want to mention here with these ships is one of the other perks of legendary ships is that once you get them up to the T6 mastery, the legendary trait that they have is unlocked account wide right away. So overpowered and overgunned is the trade-off to legendary Defiant. That is up to minus 15% weapon power cost for 5 to 10 seconds. And that duration is going to be based on your global crit chance. And then you're also getting some firing cycle haste. Like this is like a fine budget trait for alts that you're working on for haste, but most mid to high end builds have replaced this in the past couple of years. So yeah, I mean it's one of the stronger traits from this bundle, but it's also one that you just don't see used as much nowadays. Yeah, I forgot, Igor. I was gonna respond to that. Your mail had the 2 keys attached to it, right? I meant to respond the other day and I completely forgot. I'm sorry. Oh no. Oh, you're talking. Oh. Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. I'll take a look at it. The O game stuff, I'm sort of moving on from, to be honest. For the Adamant, wouldn't you need other things like the hex cannons? And I mean, somewhat, but you don't even have to do like the full console spam stuff. It's just also in general that the intel and temporal abilities just have more value right now. Perhaps. I don't know. I'll take a look at it. Okay, so that's Legendary Defiant. Again, that's one of the strongest offerings from the 10th. Legendary Ross. This is a galaxy. You've got a commander, command, and then a lieutenant command. You've also got a lieutenant commander engineer there. So this is just a really, really rough offering. What was that? Legendary Ross. Now let's just compare that to the Cygnus, which is also again in the 12th anniversary bundle. Yeah. So the Cygnus picks up a commander temporal, so it swaps the command for temporal, and then it's got a secondary command. A secondary command that's below lieutenant commander is basically worthless. So the command on both of these ships is effectively like the secondary command is basically worthless. But like for the overall layout here, both ships are in a rough spot, but the Cygnus is going to have a bit more potential. Yeah, let's just forget that the Ross exist. It's really not a good offering. Legendary Intrepid. So this has a commander merrick worker and then a secondary pilot. The pilot is on a engineer seat. So science ships generally don't want much engineering, but you can fit emerged power to engines or aux there, and then clean getaway and like fly her apart. I mean that would be perfectly fine. Some people though are going to prefer the Trailblazer. And let me pull up the Legendary Intrepid. Yeah, I mean there's perfectly viable ways to build both of these ships out. Neither of them are particularly amazing, from like a modern science perspective. But I mean, they're both able to be built out well. So I mean, neither of them are ships that I'd really want to mess around with too much. But I mean, this does also have a hangar bay going for it. So I mean, if you're a Voyager fan, I guess that's there for you. Legendary NX, this is better than the Lobby version. Dual temporal, it's 5.2, has an experimental weapon. It's or experimental weapon slot. Doesn't come with a new one though. Yeah. It's fine. Legendary Verity, I already went over this. This is the Audi, and the Lexington is just more desirable for most people. And then Legendary Sovereign, we all just got the Noble. So the Noble is a better platform for the majority of players. The Legendary Sovereign, I mean, you can make it work if you really want, but it's not a very compelling offering. So look, I mean, the 10th bundle, at large, it's not the worst purchase in the game, but it's also not one that has as much relevance as it did 6 years ago when this came out. When this thing dropped 6 years ago, it was a really big deal, and I feel like there's still a bunch of hype and mentality, from that time period. But when you compare this to the newer offerings, for some of these ships, or compared to some of the other legendary offerings out there, it just doesn't really. This to me is more of a Space Barbie bundle at this point. Like, there's none of the traits from this that I use. Any of the consoles that are good, like the ones that you'd get from the Verity, like the adaptive emergency systems, like you get those off like the Legendary Borderskew and Scimitar also, which are in much better bundles value-wise. So for the 10th bundle, the premium version I rate as D tier, and I would put the standard version here as C tier at this point. It's not bad, to again, to be clear, but we're talking about a $200 bundle from 6 years ago, and if you want to buy it for the skins, if you're a ship collector and you want to, it's your money. If you want to drop $200 on this because you want to have all of the hero ships, you do it. That you spend your money how you want. And just remember, if you're buying your Zen through Epic creator code CasualSAB. Okay? But yeah, I mean, it is in C and D tier here. The standard is going in C tier. The premium is going D tier. Yeah, the 12th anniversary bundle is not in this tier list because it's not legendary. But yeah, the 12th anniversary bundle is an incredibly strong value because of the mirror angle still. And the mirror angle, even if you don't want to fly it as a platform, it's still got the superior area denial trait. Why did you just get an ad? I don't know. I haven't changed anything with ad settings anywhere, so I don't know. Scuba, thank you for the resub. Really appreciate that. Okay, so next up is the 11th. The 11th is another very popular bundle. This was very controversial when it dropped. Not the cheapest bundle. They had to add some additional stuff into it, and it is coming in at what is the price right now? So it's 25,000 base. So it's a little bit cheaper than the other, but I mean, it's still more expensive than some of the other ones here. This is coming in at over $160. So this bundle's $160, and this got a bunch of heat when it dropped because the 10th bundle had 10 ships in it, and then this dropped a year later for not that much less money, and it only had 4 ships. So you've got the legendary pilot Bird of Prey, the legendary Excelsior, the legendary Vorcha, the legendary Ambassador. The Burrell, I mean, chat's already said it. The devs did this one dirty. The raiders with a 4-2 weapons loadout just were always really underwhelming. I hope when we get the covert later this year that it is not a 6-weapon ship. But yeah, the Burrell and most of the other bird of prey is very, very underwhelming. It really is a meme of a ship. The trade-off this deadly appearance. I don't remember if this is still bugged, but the max once per 60 seconds used to not be bugged. But when you would decloak, it would grant shield pen for projectile weapons for 10 seconds, 50% firing cycle ace for range weapons for 10 seconds, and I mean, for a while there were some people that enjoyed this, but like I've got it, and I don't even remember the last time I used this, to be honest. They patched the trait out. Okay. So the trait does at best have 10 seconds out of 60 seconds uptime. So yeah, I mean the ship is really just a meme. Legendary Excelsior, very similar stats to the Legendary Sovereign, ever so slightly better from what I recall, but you're dealing with a commander, Merrick worker, and then a lieutenant commander pilot. Lots of engineering seating. You don't have the ability to do a grav well on it, unfortunately. It's 4/4. It just, if you wanted an Excelsior, it was there, but it wasn't really anything super impressive for most people. It was also really close to the Legendary Sovereign, so, coming in a year after that 10th anniversary bundle, it was rather underwhelming to people. And looking at the trait here, it's nothing to worry about. Singo, how's it going? Legendary Vorcha, man, this used to be a ship that got some use, I will say. We used to use this for even DPS for a very brief duration. Not anymore, but this is Commander Inge with Command, Lieutenant Lieutenant Universal with Merrick Worker. It's got a 5/3 setup, no hangar bay. We used to use this for Torps a little bit. Did some stuff with it as well. I mean, it worked. It's a solid little KDF ship. I would say it's definitely leagues ahead of the Burrell here. That Burrell is just trash, man. But the Legendary Vorcha here, this is a competent little ship if you don't mind not having a hangar bay. You can make it work. The one thing I will say, though, is being a battlecruiser is it doesn't have access to attract fire. And the trait here... Incoming damage causes plus damage plus incoming healing. So up to 15% Cat 2 bonus damage and 50% healing. Yeah, I don't recall this trait seeing much use. And it does come with History Will Remember, which is was a popular trait for tank builds there. And I think tanks are still running that, so it's okay. Like, out of the 11th bundle, this is definitely one of the stars. And then there's Legendary Ambassador. For a long time, this was like the only ship that could do Surgical Strikes 3 and then Recursive Shearing 1. That has changed. We do have newer offerings that are able to do that and do that a bit more effectively than this 4/4 cruiser. So, like, this Legendary Ambassador, I mean, it's if you want to do like a 4/4 broadsiding Surgical Strikes build, then you can do it. You can make it work. But, if you want something that's a bit more offensive focused, then there are newer offerings. So I was just seeing why my Ring camera was going off. I need to get a new camera. I don't want to have a Ring one anymore. Good Day to Die trait is at least completely AFK compatible. It's nice to have on some jellies. That's a good point. Yeah, so, I mean, the 11th bundle, there are some ships that they did dirty here. The Brell especially. But alongside that, you're getting 500 Lobby crystals, 2 T6 coupons, 11 promo packs. The fluff on this one ended up being a little bit stronger than normal because of the extreme negative reaction this bundle had. I don't think that this is a bundle that everyone needs to have, but I would say that I mean, at least for me personally, in the past couple of years, I've gotten more value from the 11th than I have the 10th. So that's a little bit, it'll be a little bit controversial, but I would say that I value, I'm not going to put it in B tier. It's still like a C tier. Like you buy it because you want it. It's not the best value, but it's certainly better than the 10th for what I've experienced from it in the past, how many years. That's going to be controversial. Because, I mean, it's 4 legendary ships plus 2 T6 coupons, so it is 6 ships. And the coupons, I think you can sell. The extras are what gave it the real value, definitely not the ships, yeah. Okay, the next bundle that I have on the list here, I guess, yeah, let's go Legendary Battlecruiser. Legendary Battlecruiser is a bit more recent. This has the Legendary Avenger and the Legendary Bortesque. And the Legendary Avenger is a top tier energy weapon platform. Many of the like really fast DPS runs a couple years ago were done with the Legendary Avenger. You've got a Commander Inge with America Worker, and then a Lieutenant Commander Science with Intel. So this also has a 5/3 weapon setup, no hangar bays, but America Worker Intel is the ideal combo for those that for those that don't want to do uncon. Like if you hate the console spam playstyle, then your top specialization combo to get on a ship's bridge officer layout is America Worker Intel. So like if you're looking for like a top tier, just doing raw damage with your weapons platform, that's what the Legendary Avenger is. And all those really fast split runs that were done a couple years ago, we use the Legendary Avenger as the platform. No, exceed rated limits sucks. But you'd be using like mixed armament synergy, narrow sensor bands, and then on the Intel side, like override subsystem safeties. But yeah, exceed rated limits is just garbage, unfortunately. A lot of those single target specialization firing modes are just really underpowered compared to some of those other offerings. I'm sorry for anyone that likes exceed rated limits. If you like it, you can still make it work. It just, compared to what else you have access to, it's not going to be as powerful. If you're a casual elitist, this is the ship for you. But yeah, some other stuff here is that you're getting all of the skins, all of the accessories from the prior versions of the Avenger and the Inquiry. The Inquiry was a really popular promo ship back in the day, and this has almost the same bridge officer layout. So that was another really big perk for this. But trait wise, you're getting emergency weapon cycle here. You're getting weapons hot deflectors to full, which isn't as valuable, but I mean it's there. But then you're also getting the ship of the line starship trait. The ship of the line is a really great starship trait, especially if you don't have things like the ruin of our enemies. Basically, just chaining 2 emergency powered subsystem abilities will build this up and get you up to 50% critical severity. And just chaining emergency power to weapons and engines, for instance, hitting one of those every 15 seconds will build this up and get you up to the max stacks, which gets that 50%. So ship of the line's like a really competent, really, really good starship trait. It's definitely one of the better ones in the game. You just don't see it used on the very top tier platforms because they have access to all the really expensive whale traits. But like if you don't have access to like Ruin account wide, like this is a huge alternative. Yeah, so it's a top tier platform, comes with a really good set of traits here, especially emergency weapon cycle has been a very standard trait for a lot of players for a very long time. High-end players don't use it anymore because the really top tier builds don't care about weapon power cost anymore because we don't have any. Because of stuff like the Credence console and the Trafalgar console. So the really high-end builds don't use this anymore because they have alternatives. But for someone just starting out, emergency weapon cycle with emergency powered weapons on an energy weapon build is still an enormous deal. So that combined with the other stuff here is really good. And you do get some consoles with this, but none of them I don't believe any of them are actually like relevant. So really, really good ship. Legitimately one of the best ships in the game. So that's already a big boost for this bundle. But then you're also getting the Legendary Bordeaux. The Legendary Bordeaux is a beefy ship. It's got a 5-3 weapon setup, commander tack with intel, and then a lieutenant commander I've got that reversed. Sorry, I'm looking at this the wrong way. Commander Inge with command, and then lieutenant commander tack with intel. Sorry, I was reading the icons wrong. Yeah, it's Battlecruiser. So yeah, Commander Inge. Ignore me there. You do have the ability to run dual cannons on it. It's got enhanced battle cloak. It's another really solid platform. Like this is legitimately one of the best KDF ships in the game. And then you're also getting a really good trait on it, Thirst for Battle. Using cannon firing modes or cloak will apply the following bonuses. It's a 150% turn rate and flight speed buff, and then a 40% Cat 1 increased damage buff for 15 seconds. So this trait I still occasionally will use for some builds. It's a good speed buff, and that 40%, all damage, that's really strong. Especially for the items on your build that don't have as many damage buffs, like this is another really popular trait. So you're getting some very top tier traits with the Legendary Battlecruiser bundle. Because the Bordeaux is also one of the flagship line ships, like the Odyssey and the Scimitar, you're also getting access to all of the traits and consoles from the older flagships, things like Checkmate, Supercharged Weapons, Adaptive Hull Plating. Supercharged Weapons is the only one of those that really has much relevance nowadays, and that's just more of a budget trait, but it's still worth mentioning. You're also getting a ton of consoles with this. You're getting all of the older T5 Bordeaux consoles, none of which I believe are really worth it, but I mean, they're there for you. And then for the flagship set, you're getting Adaptive Emergency Systems, Violent Dampening Wave, and Fleet Weapon Acceleration. Adaptive Emergency Systems is going to be the most valuable of those. The Fleet Tactical Computer here, Fleet Weapon Acceleration, it's fine, but the adaptive is the big deal. So you're just getting a ton of value from Legendary Battlecruiser. And then you're also getting a T6 coupon, 2 extra ship slots, some other fluff. This is legitimately really, really top tier value. And this is 8,400 Zen during a sale. No, that's the wrong price. Isn't it 7,800 now? Yeah, this is showing me the wrong price here. Hold on. 12,000 times 0.65. Yeah, 7,800 Zen. Yeah. So under $80 for that, and you're getting like 2 incredibly strong platforms. One of them is like, they're legitimately like a top tier DPS platform. And then the Bordeaux is one of the best Klingon ships we currently have. So I'm putting that right in S tier, because Legendary Battlecruiser, like the amount of value that you get from that is huge. Yeah. So, I mean, if you're wondering, what can I buy to just add the most value to my account, like for what you can do build-wise and stuff, like Battlecruiser is there. Yeah, just the raw amount of value from that is crazy. And the platforms too, like, are just incredibly strong. Okay, let's go over Last Stand quick. So Last Stand is one of the more recent ones. Let me pull it up here. Where was it? There we are. Okay, Last Stand is the bundle that came out last year. It's got Legendary Nebula, Negvar, and the Delon. I did a review of this bundle, I believe, shortly after its release. The Negvar is a ship that a lot of people were really hopeful for, and it's not, the ships in here are not bad, but the Legendary Negvar just didn't really do much for me. Had the intel and command been flipped around, the Legendary Negvar would have been like an insanely good tanking platform for KDF players, but there was a bunch of people like just going crazy on the Discord right before this release, saying that they really wanted Commander Intel on it for surgical strikes, and the developers saw that they did it, and we got the Commander Inch here, secondary command, and unfortunately, I mean for people that like surgical strikes, they did it, but yeah, uh, I don't know. That was a bit rough. The other thing too is this does have like a disruptor trait on it. Um, that this disruptor trait we were hoping would be like a disruptor version of the Gorn Hunter's complex plasma fires. Unfortunately, when we got this, the amount of damage this does was competing with like a tractor beam one on your ship. So, I mean, it's been really disappointing. This trait is at a performance level where you almost wouldn't notice if you didn't have it slotted. Isn't it a good rule to not listen to Reddit? Well, this was not on Reddit. This was like on the Discord. Random spam bot messaging me on Discord while I'm saying that. Yeah, so I mean this trait this was just dead on arrival. They got feedback that it wasn't good performance wise, but the response was that not everything could be good damage wise. So it's effectively just a wasted trait. So that is what it is. The legendary Nebula, that's weaker than the Terran Monitor. I mean, you can still make it a very capable like science build, but it will never match what you can do with the Terran Monitor because of the impact of the two bays of Type 7s on the Terran Monitor. So, and then the Delon. The Delon is actually pretty solid, but it's to me it didn't like a good pilot intel ship. It's fun to fly, but it's not enough incentive to drop $100 on a bundle like this. Really the only value for me, like from a meta perspective, from this bundle has been the legendary Nebula trait. So if any of you watch any of the DPS like record runs, you're going to see, and I'll pull this up here quick on screen. At the start of these runs, you're going to see that we often will spam the Ilios toggles. Now, the reason we're doing that is to build up stacks of this legendary Nebula trait. So that's part of the reason why I also leave the entire briefing phase in these, so you could see how the pre-buff is going. But the issue with this legendary Nebula trait is that it can provide an enormous amount of crit chance and severity, up to 10% crit chance, 100% severity, but you have to be hitting a console basically every like 8 or 9 seconds. So it just requires an insane level of micromanagement that most people are not going to do. So it's just a massive amount of micromanagement that is only really relevant for those that are like, pushing the top tier. I still like the Dalkina Ak, but the Valdor's decent, the Scimitar's decent. Okay, so I mean, for Last Stand, it's a bundle I've talked about a bit in the past half year because it came out in the past half year, and I'm I it's hard. Like part of me wants to say almost B tier just for the value of that trait, but that's only for like deep chasers. But I really think for the average player, like I feel like this is a case of like it's borderline B and C. Yeah. It's an issue for you doing solos, but less of an issue running in teams with other people running it. Yeah, that's true, Nuclear Triad. Yeah, I mean, for right now, let's be kind and just put it in B as like a niche offering. Okay. Um, but next bundle, okay, the next one that popped up was Legendary Klingon Defense Force Captain Bundle. So let's talk about the Captain Bundles. The Captain Bundles have one ship in them. They cost 7,800 Zen during the 35% sales. Um, so it's one ship, a couple pieces of fluff, but the main value that Cryptic has attributed to these bundles is, aside from the ship, the fact they come with a max level boost. So this is something you get one single time, and it will let you go in and level up a character to max level. And you also get some inventory, bank slots, and maybe some other special items. But I mean, I don't really think it's worth it. Like, you also get gear, and the formatting on this page is a bit messed up. I don't know if that's just my browser, but yeah, there's some weird formatting issues right there. But you get, a couple perks to level the character up. You get some vouchers for like rep deal, some EC, some expertise, stuff like that. So I mean, if you legitimately are trying to level up a new character, then that's cool. I wish that they would just break this up though and sell them separately. I think if this was a ship in the store for like 30-40 bucks, and then the max level boost was also something you could buy for like 20 to 30, that would probably net them more. But the way that they have these captain bundles structured right now, where you only get the level boost once, and then you're effectively paying almost 80 bucks just to get one ship account wide, it's a bit rough. Now, for the legendary D7 here, this is 5/3. It's got a commander Inge with intel, and then a secondary miracle worker. So that's fine for range weapons. This is a ship that people have liked for surgical strikes in the past. It's a fine energy weapon platform, but it's not it's not really anything that special to me, in the modern age. Like, this is a ship released back in 2021. It's fine if you want it, it works, but I think we have more compelling offerings in the store nowadays. So, for the captain bundles, they're not completely terrible, but they're also rather poor value. Yeah, they way overvalue the level boost. Doesn't even have the trait you want. Yeah, yeah. You'd like to for it to have ruin, but it doesn't. Yeah, any reflection style abilities got nuked into the ground a decade ago, and they've sucked ever since. Okay, so legendary Klingon again. It's not bad, just not the most compelling value. Legendary Romulan Captain Bundle. This has the legendary Talus in it. The stats of this ship are, it's 5/2 with an experimental weapon slot. It does have enhanced battle cloak, commander attack with intel, lieutenant commander universal with command. So this is very similar to the legendary scimitar that we'll look at here in a little bit. But the big value for this is the assault formation theta trait. So this trait is very popular for torpedo builds and also exotic builds. When you activate Attack, Power, and Omega or Decloak, your starship will gain a significant boost to turn rate and starship weapon amplification. You will also gain a torpedo high yield 3. So for torpedo builds that are spamming in and out of cloak, that's giving them a high yield 3 quite a bit. And for exotic builds, the starship weapon amplification that synergizes with the revolutionary two-piece that is very popular for those builds. So this gets you a ton of starship weapon amplification, and then the two-piece of the revolutionary set that's going to get you a boatload of crit severity for exotics while you're benefiting from this trait. So For exotic and torp builds, it has really good niche value, but it's not something everyone needs to care about. So I'm gonna go B tier with this one. It's still expensive, almost $80, but because it's got an accessory on it that is, really relevant to those niches, I'll give it a bit more value. But as the captain bundles, again, I think they all need to be reworked. Okay. Let's just get through the rest of the captain bundles here first. So let me move those over. Okay, next up is Legendary TOS Starfleet Captain. This has the Legendary Miranda in it, and I did end up buying this. People were talking to me about it for a long time. I picked it up. The ship itself, 5/3, does have a hangar bay, Commander Inge with Temporal Operative, and then a Lieutenant Commander Science with Pilot. It's okay, not the strongest platform ever, but it's certainly better than some of the other ones we've looked at today. Like if you're a Miranda fan, I mean it works, but it is worth noting that the Bozeman Intel Heavy Frigate, or the fleet version of that, the Soyuz, are going to have a bit more firepower if that's what you're looking for. Yeah, so this is, do you want all the Miranda kit bashing, basically, yeah. But the trade-off of this, one big happy fleet, this just lets you build up a massive amount of shield penetration, and it says for energy weapons, but if you're using this trait, you'll see that it's adding to the shield pen value on your ship. So for solo runs, there was a time when I was playing around with this. I ended up not keeping it on long term, but some people like it, but I would still say the value of this isn't very strong. I think there's so much competition for starship traits nowadays that one's just, it's still a bit rough. So I'm gonna go, I'll put this C tier. It's not as good as like the Tallis there, but I mean, I can understand why some people like it. The Bozeman doesn't have hangar though, that's true. The Bozeman just has like a the Bozeman's a frigate. So you're, instead of that hangar bay, you're getting the flanking, you're getting a cloak. Is the Bozeman a battle cloak though, or in normal? Normal cloaks basically don't matter, but yeah, I mean it's something. Yeah, I mean it's, again, if you're a Miranda fan, it's there for you. Okay. Now let's go to Legendary Federation. So this is the one that's got the Legendary Vesta. That's 4/2. It's got a hangar bay. It's got a Commander Psi with Intel, and then a Lieutenant Commander Universal with Intel. Yeah, it's, just compared to so many of the newer offerings we have for science, like the Ark Royal, the Terran Nebula, those are both Zen Store offerings that you could buy both of them and still have Zen left over compared to the price of this thing. So I just don't view this as being a very compelling offering. The accessories from it, I mean, you get all the Vesta stuff, all the Vesta skins and all that, but I feel like this is one of those ships where we could very much use with like a newer, updated version in the Vesta line, because this, I don't know, this just let me down. In fact, I haven't purchased this. I didn't even bother getting it. Like I just skipped it. So there's a lot of C tier stuff. It's because it's not, there's still value there for Vesta fans because of all the skins, all the consoles, all the traits. That's basically it. Yeah, we can revisit this later on. Like rebalance out the tiers. I just want to get these processed here. We have a few more bundles to go through. So next up is going to be the Discovery Federation Captain bundle. This has the Legendary Walker in it. This will probably be D tier. You've got a Commander Inge with Command, and then a Lieutenant Universal with Pilot. You've also got a Lieutenant Inge, no ability to do grab well. 5/3 weapon setup. Um, you can make it work, but it's not. It's just not really impressive. And the trait from it doesn't look that good either. So the value for getting this is if you're a PvP player that wants obfuscation screen on account-wide unlock, and that's basically it. And I mean, at this point, PvP is pretty dead, so the value proposition of that one's just rough. We're gonna go D tier with that. That is just, to me, not a good value. That's a good point too, Michael. Yeah, some of these bundles, especially the next one we're going to look at, Legendary Dominion. Some of these with the max level boosts, they have some other perks. Like on the Dominion here, their captain bundle's a little bit cheaper because they're already level 60. So the base price on this is 9,000 Zen, and during a sale, what is that? Right under $60 during a sale. You're getting the legendary Jem'Hadar Vanguard piloted attack ship, which I'll talk about here in a moment. But the max level boost, the issue is, again, only one character gets this. And for the Dominion here, you're getting a Weyoun, is it? Like, you're getting a really special, yeah, you're getting a Weyoun clone that has a really nice trait on it, Authority of the Founders. 7.5% all weapon damage, 1% crit chance, 2.5% crit severity. Like, if you're doing a Jem'Hadar character, that's a pretty good bridge officer, but it's not account wide. So that's really diminished the value of this for a lot of people, because only one of your Jem'Hadar characters can get it. If you want to have, more than one Jem'Hadar, well, there's no way for you to get this account wide. You can't get this on a second character. Or the Katarkin, yeah. So there's a lot of nice items that are in some of these bundles, but then they have them locked so only one character can get them. Now for the Dominion bundle, again, that's coming in at a bit of a cheaper price point, right under $60. And you are also getting the legendary Jem'Hadar Vanguard pilot attack ship, which is a nice upgrade over the old promo versions of the Jem'Hadar bug ship. 5.2 has an experimental weapon slot, commander tack with pilot, and then a lieutenant commander universal with intel. So, going back to the Delon I talked about before, the Delon is slightly better than this from what I recall, like with the ball layout, but then the legendary here, the Jem'Hadar Vanguard, this is a Vanguard ship, so it's got the wingmen. So the Delon has the advantage in that it's got the built-in cloak, but the Vanguard's got the advantage in having the wingmen also. Yeah, it was 50% off on release, yeah, but they never repeated those sales. They the captain bundles, they really need to go through and redo those. But yeah, the ship here is pretty good. It's a competent little platform. You're getting Go for the Kill, the Cannon Rapid Fire extender with it, and then you're also getting Vanguard Specialist, which is the firing mode extender for surgical strikes, Suppression Barrage, Recursive Shearing, Reroute Reserves to Weapons, and Exceed Rated Limits. So if you're wanting to use any of those firing modes or firing mode enhancers, then this is a really good trait to have. Though for Suppression Barrage, it doesn't really matter. If you have the Rex, then you can use that console on this Vanguard pilot attack ship to get even more from it. So, of the captain bundles, the Dominion is by far the best, and I'm gonna put it in A tier. Can you get to the Gem Vanguard, get the buff and drop? No, there's no alien option for the Jem'Hadar, unfortunately. Vanguard's actually like a really strong option. Yeah. Indeed. Okay. Now let's go through the other like small bundle here. The this one's not even listed as like a legendary in the store, but the Mirror Universe bundle. this has the legendary Galaxy Dreadnought cruiser in it. So that is the China cell. And you're also getting a bunch of other mirror-related fluff account-wide. And here's a really nice thing about this pack. This, right now, is 3,900 Zen in the store. So this is just slightly more expensive than a standard Zen store ship. And this is a legendary that is, it's decent. This is basically the exact same buff layout as the legendary Negvar. That's part of why I was a bit negative about the Negvar, because it's like we already have a legendary ship with that combo, the legendary Galax. This is again Commander Inge with Intel, and then a Lieutenant Commander Universal with Command. I mean, you can make it work just like the Negvar. It would be better if those were reversed, but it is what it is. So you can do an energy weapon setup with this. You can do torps on it to some extent. Not good, but I mean technically you could. You could try to tank on it, but it's not going to be as good as other options. It's a decent little ship. You can get it working, and it's got a hangar bay. But the point is, it's $39. I do want to mention that console. So this bundle would pick up a lot of value if none of the traits from it really matter much nowadays. I do want to note here the best hope of the Empire. I mean, some people like that for like budget beam overload setups. I mean, and it's fine for that, but it's not like a top tier trait. But yeah, you're getting a bunch of consoles with this: the saucer separation, antimatter spread, the molecular cohesion nullifier field. And then you're also getting overload subsystem supplementals. Now, this console here, if they were to ever go in and unlock it so that any ship could use it, if that happens, this is instantly going to be slotted onto some high-end builds for the power buff. I know a few of us have asked a couple times for this to be unlocked. If anyone from Systems is listening, please. But this console up to plus 40 max all power. We like power. I like having as much power as possible. This would sort of be like having OSS on ships, without OSS. Yeah. So, I mean, this console, if they ever unlock it, will instantly increase the value of the Galax line. But, the Mirror Universe bundle, the ship isn't perfect. But you're getting, a few fun consoles to play around with, especially if you're someone that's a fan of that version of the Galaxy. Truthfully, if you don't mind the third nacelle, this is one of the best value Galaxies you can get in the store. $39 right now. The bundle is the Mirror Universe bundle. It doesn't have Legendary in the name, but like this is legitimately a really strong offering. Like it's not that much more expensive than a normal Zen store ship, and you're getting, a good ship with it. You're getting the Agony Phaser Torpedo, which is energy torp. It's not perfect, not the best, but I mean it's something people like. You're getting a bunch of uniforms, some other mirror theme stuff. Mirror Porthos. So I mean, like $39. We're gonna rank that one pretty highly here. So let's go A tier on that one. Okay. Now we are down to 2 bundles. Legendary First Strike and Legendary Romulan. So let's start with First Strike here. First Strike has the Akira and the Mogai. And, these are ships that people have been a big fan of for a long time. The Akira here also has the Maelstrom Quantum Torpedoes, which are, really, really popular, as many of you know. They hit extremely hard, but they have a very long cooldown. For the Akira here, you've got a Commander Inge with Command, Lieutenant Commander Science with Miracle Worker. Not necessarily the strongest buff layout, but it is something you can make work. It's got a hangar bay, of course, because it is a multi-mission command cruiser. You're getting all of the consoles and all the skins from the Akira line with this. The traits don't really matter that much. The coordinated assault, I think some some people like to do that on the carrier builds, if I recall. Is that it's that one and the assimilator one that people like for some hanger pets, and other people like SAD. It depends on the pet. Torpedo command and control. Isn't this like this has been bugged where it was like active without being slotted? Um, but yeah, I know some people like that for the benefits that has. And again, you're getting a bunch of consoles here. Point defense system, torpedo point defense. The torpedo point defense I really like for the visuals, and that's a console with a minute cooldown. So if you're looking to, spam a ton of torps, then yeah. And yeah, I've heard the pets here are bugged, the command codec. I don't know the specifics of what's going on with them, but I've heard that there is some sort of issue with them. Torpedoes are kind of going out of fashion in the current meta. Yeah, I mean, the current top performance builds don't use torps at all. Yeah. I've had like 50, 60K from it. So like the torpedo point defense system, like I legitimately think that's a fun immersion console. And getting an account wide, that's a cool perk here. So yeah, I mean the legendary Akira, is it the best ship in the game? No, but you can make it into a very, very effective platform. So every time you get inspiration bar full, those pets fire torpedo spreads, but it stopped working after the release of the Arc Rail. I assume that there's been like a bug report on that, Darthon, like on the forum or on the Discord. If not, then someone please make a thread for that. Why is there such a blue glow to my camera? My main camera is starting to mess up, so I've got a different camera on today. That's why it's looking different. I'm probably gonna be on the lookout for a new camera here in the near future. Because this one's already giving me some issues. But let's move on to the next ship here, the Legendary Valdor. So this is 5.2, has an experimental weapon slot. You've got a commander TAC with temporal operative, and then a lieutenant commander universal with pilot. For the current meta, I know that some people prefer to fly this over the Mirror Angle. The Mirror Angle still has more potential because of the override subsystem safeties that you're getting from Intel, and the BOF layout on the Mirror Angle is just ever so slightly better. Yeah, I mean, but this is still a really capable platform, and I mean, the Valdor is a ship that I've been a fan of for a long time. The 160 power, I mean, yeah, that's always been annoying for ROM ships for sure. You've also got the hangar bay on it, which is good. Like it's a competent little ship, Strike Wing Escort. Yeah, and you're also getting some good stuff here. You get emergency weapon cycle, which you're also getting from the Battlecruiser bundle with the Legendary Avenger. But yeah, console-wise, as Mara, but no, that was Darthon mentioned. Yeah, you're getting the Valdor console on account-wide unlock, which is one of the best shield healing consoles in the game. If you're using Fire at Will or Cannon Scatter Volley, it basically just gives you a really powerful per shot proc when your shields are below 90%. That gives you a ton of healing. But yeah, it's a decent platform. A lot of people like it. So, I mean, First Strike, just given everything it has, the maelstroms from it, just the other fluff here is fine too. I would say this is one of the better value bundles as well. So I'm gonna put this one A tier as well. Because the maelstroms are so dominant. Like they're the best torps in the game. Especially if you're only wanting to slot like one torp on and you're not doing ETM. Like it's a good bundle. And then there is the last bundle here, the Legendary Romulan Warbird bundle. This has the Legendary Dederidex and Scimitar. Fluff-wise, you're getting a T6 coupon, some upgrades, extra ship slots, some promo packs, some uniforms. Like, you're getting some nice unlocks here. But for the Legendary Scimitar, this is 5/3, does have a hangar bay, and it's got a Commander TAC with Intel, and then a Lieutenant Commander Engineer with Command. And then you've got a very flexible bridge officer layout beyond that, so there's lots of things you can do with this ship. It's a really good platform. Again, if the Command and Intel were reversed, I would get a bit more use out of this ship, but the layout it has, it's a very capable platform. Yeah, and it's also, got a bunch of consoles with it, so you've got a bunch of skins there. You've got all of the flagship traits again. This also has the She's a Predator trait, so if you are actually doing like a cloaking build where you're stacking up infiltrators on a Romulan faction character, She's a Predator will stack up alongside that and give you an additional set of damage buffs, so it's pretty solid. Time to put your infiltrator in the market. Does fly like a brick. You can get used to it though. But yeah, She's a Predator is a good trait. And again, you're getting adaptive from this, and all the old Scimitar consoles, which, I mean, if you're wanting to do like a Thaler on meme build, you can do that. Subterfuge does provide a boost, but it's Infiltrator that buffs the duration of the Cloak Ambush. So you can get, with Infiltrator stacking on a Romulan faction character, you can get up to 27.5 seconds of Cloak Ambush. It is a pricey or frustrating build, though, with the Infiltrator grind, yeah. My hope is that the upcoming fleet update gives us Infiltrators at the Embassy. That's my hope. So yeah, the Scimitar, it's good ship. Is it the best ship in the game? No, but it's still very, very capable. And then we have the legendary Derdex, or as some would say, the Derpidex. This is 4/4. It's got a Commander Inge with America Worker, and then a Lieutenant Commander TAC with Temporal Operative. Not the best overall seating layout, but you can still make it work, though I think many of us would like to see a better version of the ship at some point. But yeah, you can still do a lot with the ship. It's not as good as other stuff, but I mean, if you're a fan of the Derdex, then you can make it work. The trait from this is Rapid Emitting Armaments, and this is going to fire 3 heavy plasma torpedoes at your target when you hit tractor beam on them. It will also provide a boost to torpedo damage for a short time afterwards. This is really great if you want to have that plasma spam like you would see from the Derdex ships, in canon, and it's a really fun trait. Hits hard. If you're too close, like if you're within 2 kilometers of your target and you hit that, it's going to take you out with it. But these heavy plasma torps do a ton of damage. This is a meta trait for torp builds. Some science players like it as well. It's good. Like, it's a really good trait. Supercharged weapons is triggered by REA, yeah. Yeah, follow the Derdex, yeah. Attack pattern Nick. Poor Nick, he's not even here. He had a good stream yesterday. Hopefully you guys caught that. But yeah, I mean, the Derdex, it's fine. The trait from it is good again for those for like torps and for some science. And I mean, some people even like it on their edge weapon builds, but if I was ranking this is going to go in the S tier again. So, or not S tier, A tier. Sorry. Self-annihilation trait. Yeah. So, unfortunately, the am I blocking that? No, I'm not. Okay. I guess that I'm blocking S tier here. Hold on. I'm going to move my camera over here for the moment. There we go. Those ads, nothing has changed on the ad settings. Yeah. Indeed. Indeed. Okay. So, just looking at this, S tier is Legendary Battlecruiser. A tier is First Strike, the Mirror Universe Bundle, Dominion Captain, and Romulan Warbird. B tier, which is a bit more niche value, but still good for those niches, is Last Stand and the Romulan Captain Bundle. C tier is TOS Starfleet, the 11th, the 10th, the standard version of the 10th, then Klingon Defense Force Captain Bundle and the 2409 Captain Bundle for Fed. And then for D tier, poor value, that is the premium version of the 10th bundle and the Discovery Federation Captain Bundle. Cam is S tier. Well, you got to get that premium Alienware monitor. I mean, that's an S tier monitor there, of course. What is the best ship in the game? Blood Money. That is what for what content? For what content? What difficulty level? What type of build? The thing is, those sorts of questions. There's a lot of criteria to determine, what the answer is. Like, what is the best FA build? What is what is the best ship for fire at will? Best all around? I mean, just pick the ship that you like. I mean, the Vengeance is good all around. The Lexington, is able to do pretty well. The Atlantis. There's a lot of platforms that are able to do well. It's just, really pick what you like. The 11th, you guys think should be moved down to D? I'll check it out here in a few minutes. The mirror bundle would give more. Yeah, it really is just for those that want the Vesta stuff, really. I don't even own it, and I know not one of those ships in the 11th is terrible. I mean, the Bird of Prey. Cody, stay tuned for the ISOCON stuff, but like you're gonna be. But take a look at the CasualSAB Discord in the builds area that I have there, the new threads one. Like look at my noble build and like basically you would transfer that over to the World Raiser. Spencer is just too scared to piss off the Vesta fanboys on Reddit. I mean, I had it in C tier, but people are saying move it down to D. Link to the Discord is in the description right below the stream. By the way, there is also giveaways over there. Yeah, so there's the new Spencer builds area here. I've got the mirror angle posted also, with the modern crate setup for ISC. The nobles there with like the isocon setup that Cheops has really been pioneering, where it's a little bit less micromanagement than the full-on crate setups. And yeah, the giveaways, there's giveaways running on both the CasualSAB and STO Builds Discords right now. for T6 coupons. These giveaways are going to be ending in just over a week. And there's a code for PC, those that play through ARC, then PlayStation and Xbox. And I will say that it's sort of sad here seeing these console numbers. There's 469 entries for PC, and then for PlayStation 40, Xbox 38. Is the builds doing any better? Giveaways 425. Wow, there's more entries on my YouTube Discord. Yeah, so builds 425 for PC, 38 for PlayStation, 34 for Xbox. Damn, if you're on PlayStation or Xbox, make sure to enter because there's barely anyone in those. You can use Discord in browser though. Like a bunch of people do that. Has to be ARC. Well, it's an ARC code, so like your account needs to be connected to ARC. Yeah. If I already won something, no. Well, sorry, this is a code for a T6 coupon. So I mean, if you've won a code for a T6 coupon before, then no, you can't. But yeah. Came in late. Can't wait to see the reasoning for some of the bundles I missed. Yeah. I went through the reasoning like as I was putting them on the list. So you just go back through the VOD. This will be up to as a VOD afterwards. So I'll try to get timestamps in. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, let's go ahead and dump that back down to D tier. I agree with that. The Vesta, it really doesn't feel that special. Like it feels bad buying it just for the skins and a bunch of trash. What do I think of the hypercapacitor shields? Are they as good as the Kittimer? They are not anywhere close to the Kittimer. Like they're a fine budget option while you're waiting for like rep stuff or saving up for Kittimer and Muds if that's what you're going for. But the hypercapacitive ones were never really that impressive to me. Yeah, the massive price on all the Captain bundles. Yeah. I mean, I know some of the pictures got a little cut off here, but I think I'm pretty happy with this. Let me get this typed up here on Notepad. Yeah, so let's just get this typed up here. So I'll put this in the pinned comment. S tier legendary battlecruiser bundle. A tier Dominion Captain. I'll remove the legendary part from this because I don't need to repeat that for everyone. We know it's that they all have legendary in the name for the most part. Last stand. Oh, B tier. Last stand. Romulan Captain. C tier. th 10th standard. Klingon Captain. D. Premium. Disco Captain. Fed 2409 Captain. There we go. For captains, is there any reason to go Angel Psi over TAC? I mainly see TACs around. Engineers are really good for ground. A lot of people like engineers for the survivability they get while leveling up also. once you have attack fully built out, you're able to get a massive amount of survivability on attack captain. So that's why you don't see as much endgame focus on engineers, at least in space nowadays, because like most of the top tank, stuff out there, most of the top tank players are on tax or psi now. Um, you can still do a lot with an engineer. I've got my engineer like 90% of the way to where my attack is damage wise, but attack still just has an advantage there. Science is really good for like a support focused player, which the issue is because everyone just is so self reliant in this game that attack is just what most prefer. But science is what I would say is best for like a support player. Subnuke is really beneficial, and I mean science can still do well on their own. Wouldn't overall, if they're moving at 95% of the current locked consoles, will cause a lot of purchases. Yeah. Especially like I was saying, the Legendary Galax stuff, like the supplemental systems console there. That's one we've brought up a couple times that I really would like to see them do. They killed EPG builds. The issue for EPG is the meta for that is shifted over to a console spam approach, and it's almost as expensive as the do like the crate style like console spamming with that. So you're spending about as much, but your performance isn't comparable. Please keep in mind with with consoles, the VJer tool can help. I like over on the builds Discord, I was trying to go in and include like all the text of what all the items were, but if I don't have them listed, keep in mind that the VJer tool is a thing, just to help you search around. I mean, it would be better if I just did have all the items listed there, but in the meantime, this is always good to just have on hand. This tool can help you identify consoles by the icons. Also, there's tab for traits. Might take a moment to load, but yeah, this is just a really good tool to have bookmarked for Stowe. Yeah. Yeah, they need to go through all the legendary stuff. All the legendary stuff needs to be unlocked, in my opinion. How do I use C? For endgame, what is the current best race for space combat? Romulan aliens are generally preferred. Gem Vanguards are perfectly fine as well, but the Romulans have the advantage still on the cloaking side if you ever are using that. So, most people at the high end are still on Romulan aliens. Yeah, I mean, Gemini Vanguards will be fine too. Cultural Conquest versus Terran Goodbye. How many characters do you want them on? Remember, Terran Goodbye was just in the in a Muds bundle, and I mean, for the World Raiser, it's only a matter of time. I would not be surprised if like the next Muds bundle has cultural in it. Like we are at that point where the World Raiser is due to be in a Muds bundle. Yep, Chadwick, thank you. Make sure to take advantage of the free Vanguard. Would that shift if we got... So that depends. Romulans have access thanks to the Delta Rising expansion pack. They have access to some bridge officers that have both Superior Infiltrator and Romulan Operative on them. If they were to put those in the embassy, which I think would be a good idea, to be honest, even though, many of us bought that bundle a decade ago, partly for that. I am always open to things becoming more accessible. I would like to see like some expensive bridge officers at the fleet embassy that have both superior Romulan operative and superior infiltrator on them, and even the lower ranks. How do you link your account on PS? It doesn't work when I tried. I have no idea, Cody. I don't know. Like, if you want to link your PC account to PlayStation, you can't, if that's what you're asking. Like, they're entirely different. You can't transfer from PC to console, nor can you move from console to PC. Yeah. I don't know, but any other, do you guys have any questions about, like, any of the placements here? I don't like that the pictures got cut off a little bit, but so the Romulan Warbird bundle, there's two Romulan bundles. There's Romulan Captain and the Romulan Warbird. The Warbird one with the Simtar and Dare decks, that's A tier, but the B tier one, the Captain, yeah, that is because of the Assault Formation Theta with the Torp builds and Science builds. You, oh no. Yeah, QC, if you've never made one of those recruits before, then yeah. Like, we have Delta recruitment up next for PC, I believe, and that'll be a good time to make some characters. Why not put the Galax bundle S tier? I mean, I'll say this: if Cryptic would like to make the supplemental subsystems console from the legendary Galax Unbound, so any ship could use it, I would gladly, go in and move that up. But until that happens, it's it's a good bundle, but it's not, it's not like S tier value, I'd say. Like, at the end of the day, too, the thing is, like, as a platform, it's a good galaxy, but there are better ships you can get for $30 in the store. So I'm selling S tier slots now, eh? Good lobes, yeah. um, with Delta, with Delta, you can just do like a Fed, a ROM, or a KDF if you want, but if you want to get every last set of rewards from it, which is just a little bit of extra marks into lithium account wide, then you'd do one of each, but you don't have to. Just one will be sufficient to get you like 95% of the rewards. Personally, I think Delta recruitment is a great time to make a Romulan character. Um, it's up to you if you want to do something else, but I think it's a Romulans to me are just the best. And you can make your Romulan Fed aligned, or you can go to the dark side and go KDF. You know that they're not legendary bundles, but how good or bad are other bundles like the 12th, 13th, and 14th? Um, I would say 12th and 13th, they're like borderline SA tier. The 14th, that depends. I would say, honestly, all of them are at least A tier. At this point, 12th through 14th, I could say are A tier, at least. Even though the 14th didn't end up having as much of a positive response because of the Tal Shiar ship in there. Like, you still got the Awani, you got the Atlantis, the Chekhov. Like, the ships in there were still pretty damn, impactful. And the Princeton. Like, everything in there, like, brought some value. Like, that was that was just a really interesting era when it came to what they were doing, like to try and push various playstyles. Um, I would say if you're like honestly, Nick, yeah, I'd say for you, like, because you're someone that's already pretty established in the game. Um, Getting the Rex for inertial supremacy, it's ever so slightly better than SAD. Like SAD is a good sufficient, or a good replacement, like for now for you. But just having the Rex on hand also for the console in the event you ever want to play with a Vanguard ship is a good idea. I want to say that I was a bit more positive about the Master of Science bundle than I probably should have been. Um, because I was just so happy to get the Anorex in there. But I would say that that's like a probably like a B tier bundle. You know, if I'm looking back, B tier probably is sufficient for it. Yeah. I mean, we'll probably have a Muds bundle sale again at some point in the near future. You know, if you want a legendary bundle right now, make sure to take advantage of this sale. But uh, we will have probably like right around the start of the summer event, which is just under a month from now, because that starts up. What was it, like June 2nd? Um, like when the summer event starts up, um, that they'll do a sale. That they always do like a summer sale. I would not be surprised if we see a Muds bundle sale happen like during the summer sale, or during the summer event. Just saw the legendary Vesta doesn't even have a battle cloak. Yeah, yeah. The Anorax is still a solid ship. I'd love to see a better version of the Anorax. I think I've said a few times, with the impending fleet update, and the discussion on potentially bringing in alternate versions of ships. The Anorax is one that I'd love to see given a bit of an update there. Just the only change it needs is just swap the commander intel out for temporal. Literally leave the rest of it alone. Just give it the commander temporal. That's it. That'd be such an incredible ship. Uh Twisted, there might have been. I don't remember. Do we know when the Kelvin bundle will be out for Stowe? Wasn't that July? And that's on the roadmap. Um, I don't know why there's such a blue hue. Hold on. Is that just the text on this? Oh, yeah, okay. My chat is... I've got my prompter here, but I'm using a different camera because my normal camera was having some issues. Um, I bought this a long time ago, but this is having some issues, and I got a different camera on now, and it's picking up the light a little bit different. It's the Divine DPS Halo. Oh no. The old camera was lower quality, so it hit it really well. No, this one, yeah, this camera is a bit higher res too. When that 3-3 America Worker Narada releases, here's something I'll say about the Kelvin bundle. I I am I feel that they are very well aware of what happened with last year's Timeless Legacy bundle, and that they're not going to repeat that mistake. I feel very, very confident that the ships that we're going to see this year will not have double of the same specialization. I feel like they'll probably be different combos. So they'll be a bit more in line with our modern expectations. It's just a healthy blue glow. Merrick Worker and Lieutenant Command, they also are aware of the issues we have with Command. Um, Fire with the Kelvin ships, the new ones that they're coming out with, they'll probably have like a modern Stowe equivalent skin on them. They made the 15th bundle completely useless though. No traits or consoles. No, that's not true. 15th has Shangri-La, sequential warhead loader. That's legitimately a good one. What else was there? Some people like Scatter Packs and Weasels. I think that they're a bit underpowered still. The Pioneer 2 stuff, like the Ridge console, that sucks. Unfortunately, that just never did what it needed to do. And then what else was there? I don't even remember what the other... Oh, Corolla, yeah, thank you. I knew I was missing something. I was missing the big one. Yeah. Yeah, Corolla. The Corolla stuff was god tier, yes. Just leaning into it. You are an Andorian today, yeah. I wish this room was the temperature of Andoria. Right now, here are the temperatures of this room in your Celsius and, American units. Lovely. It's a bit warm in here. It's fine. Oh, what was I about to say? Oh, you meant the 16th. Yeah, the 16th. I mean, there's things that they could do to bring up the value of some of those accessories. The NP consoles, the escort that's that has the big crit chance and severity buff on it. If they made that like an instant activate, that'd be like a meta console right there. The 2-second activation time on it just was a bit rough. The Kamari was the big one. The Kamari trait, that's amazing for tank builds. How much? Yeah, 42.50 when it's on sale. And remember, we get a 75% mud sale at the a non-bundle sale here in a couple weeks. On the 18th, is it? You're waiting for 35% off to get the 16th? Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's getting back to the point of the stream though. Again, I'll open it up. Does anyone have any other questions about any of these? I went through like if you missed the breakdown like of me going through and talking about the ships, this is over on YouTube as a VOD, so you can go back to those portions if you want, and I'm going to go back through afterwards and just try to get some basic timestamps done. And like in the pinned comment. Or actually, no, if I put them in the description, it should just automatically apply the chapters like normal. We're never going to get a 75% sale again, are we? Not likely, no. Nice. What's my cut on each legendary bundle I managed to shift today? The only cut is, if any of you buy your Zen via Epic, that gets me a 5% cut of whatever you buy, whether it's Stowe Zen or literally anything else on the Epic Game Store. So, Epic creator code CasualSAB. Someone was mentioning earlier, they were joking about me doing another product review. When I mentioned the camera, I did want to mention, it's not a camera, but there's 2 product reviews coming up on the channel this month. One of which is for this, like a battery station that I got, that they sent to me, Olight, and the other is a keyboard. Because I need more keyboards. Is there any more known about the Cavort class? Nothing. What's my opinion on the legendary Miranda? If you want to fly it, you can make it work, but it's not the best ship. But like we are at a point, I think it's very, very important to keep this in mind, that every single tier 6 ship can be built up to a point that it can get through any content the game has. Like, I can take the worst tier 6 ship you can think of, something like the Kabali Samzar, the Resolute. I can slap together a build with that and go in solo ISC, over 1,000,000 DPS. Like, we are at that point power creep wise where a lot of people don't like the power creep, but it has given us the capability to do insane amounts of damage with basically any ship and with a variety of playstyles. Like, you don't even have to be doing like a super high-end plasma setup or rainbow setup, in order to do a ton of damage. You can do a very thematic build and still get really, really good performance if you know what you're doing. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Did I break the most recent keyboard that I did a review on? It still works, but the USB port sort of popped out of it, and that may be because it was dropped a handful of times. Yeah, Rasa, I know. Blowing up all the nanites at once. There's been a few instances of breaking maps by killing things too fast. I need to BRB for just a moment. I'm going to go turn the air on. Mind, I'm going to open the window. Okay, it might be a bit of background noise from that fan, but I gotta get some air moving in here. Okay, back to the right window. Get some more natural light in here too. Not as much of a blue glow now. Um, but what if we don't know what we're doing? Then stay tuned. Well, I mean, it's not that warm outside, not yet at least, but I mean, it's 72 outside. But it's going to get up to the 80s here soon. I know the high is 74. Okay. I guess I don't need the air today. That's good. Um, I recently saw a Reddit post trashing the look of the Repeal. Personally think it's one of the best looking ships in game. Might be a wild take. I mean, it's all personal preference. Somehow I look bluer. I'm gonna go full camera here. Oh yeah, that is really blue. There we go. That's better. Okay, back up to the right one. Here we go. Just had to increase the white balance. I can't let it go on auto. On auto, it was like it made me look super red before. Touch some grass, get that blood circulating. Never seen your face that big before. You have fantastic eyes on now. Oh no. Where on Steam can you find when you last played said game? It should be right on your account. Hold on. Um, so the reason Last Stand is B tier is entirely because of the trade off Legendary Nebula. That trade is up to 10% crit chance and 100% severity, along with plus 20 Ox and max Ox power. So for like min max solo or in a coordinated environment, that can be insanely good. You thought I was a Smurf for a minute? Oh no. This camera, I mean, it's working sufficient enough for what I need. Like I mean, that's sufficient. Let's see, what sort of quality can you guys see? Here's my here's the data list. Yeah, you can see the detail pretty well. Much more clear than the normal camera. Okay. Might just leave this camera then. Think that's sufficient for now. Goes through cameras way too fast. Well, it was a webcam. I bought this like 2 years ago. I mean, it was just like it was just really starting to get really grainy, and like nothing I was doing was changing it. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna start to wrap things up though. I'll be streaming tomorrow is the plan. I'll be streaming again. And basically the goal is to go in and try Stow on Linux. You know, especially with the Steam machine incoming. I know people are going to be curious about that. Thank you, Darthon. So I'll give it a go on the Steam Deck in the desktop, the desktop mode on the Steam Deck. And then for CasualSAB, for CasualSAB, I have this mini PC here. This is like a NAS motherboard, but I'll just get a fresh copy of CasualSAB on this, and we'll give it a go tomorrow. Just to see how it goes, see how seamless it is. I mean, this is probably about the power of a Steam Deck too, so that'll be a good test. But Microsoft said they're going to fix Windows. I mean, people still like Linux. Linux is, it's getting better. Stow's actually pretty good on the Steam Deck, yeah. I've heard about people running it before, I just haven't tried myself. And we'll probably, I'm just thinking, I'll probably just use the capture card for this. Pretty neat little 3D printed case, yeah. If Apple made a car, would it have Windows? Oh no. Do I have to make a new account to use that? No, I can use my my existing account. I mean, there's even been people, Lem, that I saw running Stow on a tablet or like a phone recently. So, with emulation. Well, I'll just use my dock for the Steam Deck, and I'll use it like a normal computer. Well, you can emulate it over on Mac. That's what Lem is just talking about there on the YouTube side. What are the minimum specs for a Stow Linux build? I mean, not that I mean, the thing with Linux too is, you can get things running on some pretty old hardware. Yeah, And it should be pretty seamless because it's just start through Steam. Yeah, I mean, it's still on Linux, is it's still on PC, so you just, with Steam, you just sign into your Steam account, you just start it up, and it's going to work seamlessly. And then for like GOG or Epic, you've got like the Heroic launcher, right? And then for standalone, I don't know like what the process is for that, but I could figure it out. Yeah. Yeah, let me show the PC, the little mini PC. Mini route. So this is that mini PC that I'll be trying it on. This is a mini route N7. I bought... So when I bought this last year, it was $400 for the motherboard, the cooler, a 1 terabyte 990 Evo Plus Samsung SSD, and then 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM. So let me tell you, getting that when I got it before the market stuff went through, that was insanely good timing, because this was $400 when I got it, and now it would be like $1,200. So yeah, this is an 8845 HS. Like this would be like what you'd see in some laptops, basically. But my reason for getting this is because like for setting up a newer NAS, because I can get at least 24 drives running off this. Yeah, so I figure this would also be a good comparison for what to expect from the upcoming Steam, the Steam machine. Because, the Steam machine's also running like an AMD CPU, so like, or APU like this thing, so it'll be interesting to see. But it should absolutely crush Stowe. Like I'll probably still be able to run Stowe at 4K on this, to be honest. So Stowe is a very low demand game, unless you're playing at like 4K and get into a really spammy map. Okay. But that is going to be it for today. I am going to step away from the computer for a little bit. Again, stream tomorrow, starting at the same time. And then I'm just thinking there probably won't be a midweek stream unless something pops up. At least there's nothing planned right now, unless I just decide to do like a random, just random stream. But yeah, plan is tomorrow stream and then next Saturday another stream. And then I want to get videos done in the meantime. The crate build guide is close. It's making sure that I have a boatload of disclaimers in there so people understand that they can't just copy paste the build and expect the performance, that there's a ton of practice and stuff that goes into it. Do I believe we'll get a new legendary bundle this year? I don't know if we'll get a new legendary, but I would not be surprised if we get like a November bundle. Yeah, okay. Let's see, who do we have on Twitch? Oh, I see that message. Okay. Thank you all for tuning in. I need to cut this though. Okie dokie. Okay. Yeah, more fleet ships would be nice. Hopefully soon. Okay, see you guys.